Hi, in this video I'll be showing you this. It's the Mileseey DP20 bilateral laser distance meter. That's what it says on the side of the box here. And what I want to do today is to show you around the product, some of the features and benefits that it offers, and give you a demonstration to show you how it works. So what is a laser distance meter? Well, traditionally, if you wanted to measure something, or if you wanted to measure, say, a room, for example, then you need to go and get your old-fashioned tape measure out. That's long gone. That was quite a few years ago, and the technology's really moved on with this kind of product. So let's have a look. Now, for me, if you follow me on YouTube for a while, when I'm unboxing a lot of products, I do talk about the packaging. Now, I know a lot of the time it's not too relevant, the packaging, as to how the product is, but for me, I think it's really important, because personally I think if the manufacturer is willing to put a lot of time and effort into making a really good box for it to arrive in, and the packaging look really smart, like this is, then I think with a product that almost goes hand in hand. Anyway, this is the DP20. Now, there are two versions of this. So there is this model, which is up to 120 meters. There is also a smaller version as well that goes up to 80 meters, but I thought I'd go for the better version. Now, as you can see, it's really compact actually. I must admit, first glance, I really like the look of this. Let's just take the protective cover off of there. Now, let's just pop that down. What else have we got in the box? So I suppose for a lot of people, you're not really going to keep it in the box all the time. So we've got a really nice, actually. This is a case to put it in, and you've got the little USB charging lead. So when you're not using it, then that can just sit in there like that. Absolute perfect fit. So I'm really glad to see that it comes with a protective case like this, because for a lot of people, especially if you're a trade, for example a carpenter or decorator, painter, something like that, then you could find that this could be in your kit box, and last thing you want to do is to spend this kind of money on this kind of product and then it get damaged. So that's why it's really good to have a protective case that it arrives with. So what I've done is I've just put it on the table for now, and I've just zoomed in because what I want to do is I want to show you a little bit nearer to the actual laser level. So first of all, if you want to turn it on, just press and hold the on button, and you'll see you've got a really nice clear display on the unit. Now personally, I tend to use centimeters and meters to measure things. It's just the way I suppose I've been brought up. Just a little bit easier for me. But if you want to go to feet and inches, not a problem. Just press the unit button and it will scroll between different measurements. So you've got a lot of flexibility. But for me, I want to keep it on the meters. With a lot of traditional laser measurers, you normally have to put it up against one wall, and then you have a laser beam that will go across the room and it will give you a measurement. Not always the case with this. So first of all, you can do that if you wanted to, but you've actually got 3 lasers that come out of this. That's why it's called bilateral. And what you can do is, if you wanted to stand in the middle of a room, as I'll give you an example in a moment of this, what you can do, first of all, you can actually measure. So for example, you could just stand in the middle of the room and measure the distance between the wall by you standing in the middle, which can make life a lot easier. I suppose if you're measuring a kitchen, and if you've got say a kitchen counter in the way, that could make life a little bit more difficult if you needed to put it up against a wall. What you can also do is you can also measure the volume. So if you wanted to, for example, put it on the floor, and if you wanted to measure the square feet or square meters of a room, then it's not an issue. You've got quite a few different options when it comes to selecting the mode on here. Now this is the first one, and this is called one-way or two-way measurements. And in theory, what you can do with this is you can stand in the middle of the room and just hold it, press the measurement, so press the measure on, and what it will do is it will give you the distance between 2 walls. I suppose for a lot of people, that's the main thing that you'd want to use it for. What you can also do is you can also use it to find the middle of a room. Now for some people, that could be the main reason for making this purchase. What you can also do is, using the one-way measurement, is you could just pop it against a wall, and then it can give you a full measurement of the whole of the room. As you go between these, so you've got quite a few different options on here. You've got things like the area measurement. So if you wanted to pop it on the floor, and if you wanted to measure, say, the square footage of, for example, the room, then that's the main section that you would use. Also the volume. So if you wanted to know the volume of the room, then that would be the option to use. And these next two options could be really, really useful if you needed to measure, for example, something that's really high, for example, a house. Clearly, getting on some ladders and popping your tape measure or count the number of bricks could be a way of doing it, but it's quite labour intensive. Now, the next two options, you've got auto level, and then you've got something called auto height. And between the two, what you can do, I'll just show you an example of this. This is in the instructions. So this is the first one called auto level, and with that you can actually measure the, in theory, like the height of the house, and also the angle if you were to sit this on the floor. Then the next option is called auto height, and that's where you can actually measure the height of the house, and that's just where you toggle between the two. And I suppose the main advantage, if you're, say, a decorator, and if you were, for example, either painting the outside of a house, or if you're a renderer, and if you're rendering the outside of a house, and if you were giving a quote to a customer, then something like this could save you so much time. When you want to know the measurement, all you need to do is just press the measure and the on button, and you can see that although that's a really clear display on its own, if you press that button there, you can actually have the extra large text on there. So I suppose if you're getting on a little bit, if your site isn't quite as good as it used to be, then you've got the option to make the display a little bit bigger. But clearly you do lose a bit of the text on there. So if you want to know the angle at which you're measuring, then you need to press it again to go back to the smaller writing on there. So what I want to do now, just give you a couple of demonstrations of it actually in action. So I suppose something I want to measure is I want to measure the width of the room that I'm in. So I'll just stand here in the middle of the room. Now I know I'm not holding it too steady, but because it's going to measure both of them quickly at the same time, so the distance between here and the wall and the other side and the other wall, then essentially it doesn't really matter. Although if you want to, you have actually got a tripod mount on the back. So if you wanted to get a much, I suppose, more of an accurate measurement, then you've got the ability to do that. But all I want to do at the moment, I just want to know the distance between the wall. So if I press and hold the button, so on the display, it just gives you the overall measurement of 3.445 meters. And on the right hand side, so I suppose from where I was standing to the right wall is 0.969 meters, and to the left is 2.476 meters. And if I wanted to find the middle of the room, then I can just move according to the middle of that, and then just make sure I get the center of the room. Because you've also got the angle measurement on here, then I can also measure if my walls are upright or not. Now for me in this house at the moment, it doesn't really matter, but if I wanted to, then you can just pop it on here and let's press the button, and I can see that that's at 90 degrees exactly, so that's perfect. And I've also pressed the button again, and it gives me the distance from the floor to the ceiling. So at the moment it's okay, it's just going on to a little bit of the coving at the top, but that's at about 2.3 meters. I know there are quite a few different examples that I can give, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview as to what it can do. Now, who's going to use something like this? Well, I suppose anybody that's going to need to measure something, especially over a long distance, up to 120 meters on this model. As I mentioned, there is another model that just goes up to 80 meters. But for your personal circumstances, then that could be enough. It has an accuracy of down to 2 millimeters, which is absolutely fantastic. I think for a lot of people, up to 2 millimeter accuracy should be more than enough. But there is also an app that you can download. Now, personally, I haven't done that at the moment. I have seen an example of it. And when you have a look on the listing, I'll post a couple of links below to show you where to get them at competitive prices. Within the listing there, then it does give you an example of the app and what it can do. But what it can do is it can actually save all the measurements, and you can actually create almost a drawing from the different measurements. Absolutely fantastic. So, you know, what I've shown you is just really scratching the surface on there. Last couple of features to mention. The first one is called line segment division. And what this can do, this enables you to measure across, for example, measure a certain distance and then split it into certain sections. So if you were hanging, say, 5 pictures on a wall, and if you wanted to know exactly the distance required between each of them, then you've got the option to do it with this. Absolutely fantastic. You've also got something called a digital tilt sensor. So what you can do is you can actually measure, if you wanted to, say, put this on a banister on the stairs, and if you wanted to measure the angle of it, then you've got the ability to do that too. I always knew this was going to be quite a quick video. Just wanted to show you what it can do, give you a couple of examples, and if you are thinking about buying one, then as mentioned earlier, I've provided a couple of links below to show you where to get one at a competitive price. But I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just give us a quick thumbs up. If you've got any comments on the video, then just leave it in the comments below. Also, if you've got any questions on this, then I'm going to be using this from now on. Then if you've got any questions, pop it in the comment below. Also, if you have got one of these, because I see the ratings of it from the listings below are really, really good. But if you got one of these, let me know what you think about it, because I do always appreciate the feedback. Thanks for watching.